Hello and welcome to episode 65 of the Footy with Fletch podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by former Essendon captain Dyson Heppell. Dyson played 253 games and kicked 68 goals. He's a one-time club best and fairest, All-Australian and AFL Rising Star winner. Hello Dyson, thanks for joining me. How are you doing?
Yes, good on you, Fletch. I'm going well, mate. Kicking along here, all good.
You were selected by the Bombers with pick 8 in the 2010 draft. Reflecting on that, what was it like to get selected to the Bombers, the club you grew up supporting?
Yeah, well, look, mate, it was a crazy experience, I guess, as an 18-year-old. I, as you said, supported the Bombers growing up since a little tacker, and had the dream of one day playing AFL footy, and let alone for the Bombers, the team you support. Having Hurdy as my first coach, being my childhood hero, and a lot of things aligned pretty well, mate. And it was just such an exciting little chapter in my initial phases of my AFL career.
And in your first season as well, in round 1, you were nominated for the Rising Star Award, going on to win the award, polling a possible 44 out of 45 votes. What did that mean to you?
Oh, mate, that was just an incredible ride that entire first season. I heard he was massive in saying, look, he was going to give me an opportunity no matter how old I was. If I was good enough, age wasn't a barrier. He would give me a chance. And, I managed to play every game that season. Got the Rising Star nomination in that round 1, and then went on to win the award, which was just incredible, mate. I think I was the first in the club's history to win it, and named after the great late Ron Evans, who did so much for the Essendon Footy Club and the AFL in general. So it was a very proud moment, mate.
And then in 2014, you made the All-Australian side. How chuffed were you to make the All-Australian team?
Oh, look, that's sort of one you look at when, even as a kid, you sort of go far out. Like, imagine that, like being in the best, amongst the best players in the competition, and being sitting there alongside them on that night was a bit of a pinch me moment. I think I was one of the youngest in the team, and alongside some genuine idols of mine that growing up watching them play footy, and that inspired me so much throughout my career. So. That was just a crazy little moment, mate, and one I look back on very fondly.
And you also won the club best and fairest in 2014. What did that also mean to you?
Yeah, the Crichton Medal. Well, that one, within itself, it's like you look at the list of names that had won it over the course of the club's 100 and whatever it was then, 145 odd year history. Just some genuine superstars of the game that had won the award, and to be, I guess, on the board alongside them is pretty cool.
And what was it like as well? You obviously got to play in Anzac Day, big games against Richmond and arch rival Carlton. What's it like to play in those big blockbuster games in front of 80, 90,000 at the G?
Yeah, no doubt. And that's I guess that's the special thing about being a part of the Essendon Footy Club. We get to play in these extraordinary games, and, big nod to Kevin Sheedy. He's been instrumental in setting up these blockbuster games, and especially Anzac Day, where you can get the opportunity to play on a day to show your respects to those that have fought and fallen for our country, is just insane. It's a tremendous occasion, and you're standing there at the last post in the minute silence before the game, and you can hear a baby cry on the fourth tier, and it's just like 100,000 people in the stadium dead silent. It's just a wild feeling. So the whole build up to that game, the week in itself, the pre-game, everything's different. And it's just one of those ones that it's hard to describe until you're immersed in it. But I think everyone that goes and attends an Anzac Day knows the feeling and the sense of the occasion. And I didn't have too good of a record over the years, mate. I think I won maybe 4 of 12 or 13 of them. But yeah, look, it's but very, very proud to be able to play on that day.
And what do you think were some of the biggest highlights from your career as well?
Yeah, look, I guess it's hard to look past your debut game. That was just an incredible occasion. Beat the Doggies by 10 goals, I think, in a nice win. I think it was Telstra Dome back then, mate. The old Marvel now, but playing back then. And that was awesome. Your first final we played in my first year as well. Even we had the year off from the supplement saga in 2016. Came back and played round one against Hawthorn. It was my first game as captain. Jared Roughhead, who we're close family friends with. Ruffy, it was his first game as captain as Hawthorn as well. And that game is probably one of my most memorable ones. Just coming back to footy, the love I had for it, how much fun I had in that game. And yeah, it was a pearler, mate. And look, some extraordinary moments throughout the career. And yeah, I guess we've had some fantastic interstate wins. Even my last game, mate, against Brisbane up there, look back on quite fondly. So yeah, just very extremely grateful for the career, mate. Like what footy has done and the lifestyle has provided for me has been incredible. So just so much gratitude towards the Essendon Footy Club and the AFL in general.
And you touched on the supplement saga. What impact did that have on you during the time?
Oh, mate, it was a wild ride. Back then, it was, I was young at the time, sort of 18, 19 when it first started, and then it really reared its head over those coming years. And, get to the age of, I think it was 23 or 24, and all of a sudden, middle of my career, it's a blanket 12 months off, which was just a wild scenario that things cascaded and unfolded in a way that you wouldn't think of in your worst nightmares. And yeah, look, I think the only good thing about the whole thing, mate, was we had each other. We had all of us to lean on. That everyone that was going through it, and I was just so proud of the boys to stick fat. No one fractured. It really galvanised us as teammates. And look, for me, mate, it taught me it helped me grow up. Like it was the amount of resilience, the I guess the perspective that I had on life and footy in itself was huge. And it allowed me to get a hell of a lot of joy out of the back end of my career, knowing how quickly footy can be stripped away from you. But it also, it taught me life lessons in terms of forgiveness and how to move forward through adversity and the real strength of character and a mental resolve that, I may not have fostered or cultivated over the course of my career. So, look, you take the lessons, mate. Obviously, I wish I never went through it. Wish none of us did. But you look back now and go, look, it crafted and molded me into a better person.
And then in 2017, you were appointed the captain of the Essendon Football Club. What did that mean to you, Dyson, to captain one of the biggest clubs in the AFL?
Yeah, Fletch, that one was crazy actually. It was sort of like, I don't know, as a kid you don't really even dream of being a captain. It's like just one of those things. You probably had natural leadership tendencies as a young tacker, and then I reckon the guys when I got to the club, the older players sort of noticed a willingness to want to learn and develop and grow my leadership, and they sort of really helped guide me along the way. And in particular, Job, he was just tremendous in one, just a great role model, but two, I probably annoyed the shit out of him at times, pestering him for advice and coffee catch ups to grow and develop as a leader. And yeah, and look, taking over that role, mate, I had massive boots to fill for what Job had carried the club through. And look, I just tried to put my own spin on it. Took me a bit of time to find my feet, to find my own authentic leadership with it. But look, I thoroughly enjoyed the role over the course of 6 years, mate. And yeah, I was well and truly ready, and more than happy to hand over the captaincy to Junior Merritt in 2022.
And you mentioned handing over the captaincy to Zach Merritt. What was sort of that process involved with, and how did Zach becoming captain come about?
Yeah, well, look, I think Zachy he was a bit like me when I was young. Sort of, he just had real natural sort of leadership tendencies, and he'd put a hell of a lot of work into developing himself as a leader. Even taking on board feedback and implementing that and putting things in place. And guys had noticed his willingness to learn and grow. And he was, I've got an amazing relationship with him. But I was just so proud of the way he grew and developed his leadership. And in terms of the decision, it was a bit of a conversation between Brad and I when he first got the role as coach. And I thought it was a fantastic time having a new coach at the helm with a new leader. A big part of it for me, mate, I still wanted to be playing while the new captain came in, and so I could be there for any guidance they needed. So I thought it was a really fitting time, and Zach was he was well and truly primed and ready for the role.
And in 2022, you played your 200th game. The result, unfortunately, didn't go your way, losing to Sydney by 57 points. How disappointing was it to have such a disappointing result and such a big loss in a milestone game for you?
Oh, you didn't have to dig that one up, Fletch. Nah, look, that's the nature of footy, mate. That's footy, and that's you can have great days and you can have some poor ones. And look, absolutely, it would have been amazing to have an incredible win up in Sydney against them. But the occasion in itself, like 200 games, I think it's something like 3.8% of AFL players ever reach that milestone. So within itself was amazing. I had 60 of my closest family and friends up there, literally out on the ground, lining up beside the banner when I ran out the race. So I don't know if anyone's ever had that in their career where they've got 60, 70 of their closest people out on the deck before a game. So it was also lined up with my 30th birthday. So it was a pretty incredible occasion. And then, look, the result in itself, mate, was a stinker. Sydney smacked us, and we were no good. But look, to reach the 200 on that day was incredible.
And was there any point in your career where you considered leaving the Essendon Football Club, or were you always going to be a Bombers player for life?
Well, mate, I think deep down there was never a moment where like really, really thought I'm going to leave. The big period, obviously, where there was a fair bit of interest, came during the supplement saga when we had the year off. There were a few clubs that had sniffed about, and quite substantial offers that came across the desk. But nothing that I ever fully considered, mate. And I'm a pretty loyal person, and growing up barracking for the Bombers, yes, we'd been dragged through the mud a bit, but at the same time, I wanted to come back and continue and finish off my career with the Dons, and make our members and fans really proud to be a part of the footy club again.
And you mentioned the members and fans as well. What impact did they have on your journey as a player and as captain as well?
Oh, mate, look, my career or anyone's career does not exist in the AFL world without your members and fans. So, look, I've paid my respects to them over the course of, the back end of my career and right across the course of my career. I was massive in terms of showing gratitude towards our fans and members, and the love that they showed me over the course of the career was incredible. Yes, at times, if I'm having a stinker or we're not going so well, they're coming at you from different angles. But that's also part of the caper too. Passionate, loyal fans that want to see the Bombers go well. And I gave absolutely everything I possibly could to make them proud, even to inspire the younger generation to want to be, you pursue their dreams, or whether that's footy or whatever they want to do in life, or just be a good person, mate. I had the privilege of being able to make someone's day or make a kid smile just from a high five or a little wink, from in the shopping centre, or sign an autograph. So that's something I never took lightly, mate, and a very, very special part of the job of being an AFL footballer.
It's a great outlook that you have, and you were coached by James Hird, Mark Bomber Thompson, John Worsfold, Ben Rutten, and Brad Scott. What did each of those coaches mean to you throughout your career?
Yeah, look, it's not a. You sort of don't want to go through a career and mix with a mixed bag of coaches, because I guess it means that things aren't going too well and you've got to churn them over. But at the same time, mate, I I fostered some amazing relationships with all of those guys, and I'm incredibly grateful for the guidance they showed me throughout that time, and helped develop me as a person and as a leader. And look, it's even as a leader, I took little bits from each of those coaches to implement into the way that I tried to lead the group as well. So it was really important for me to, I guess, have that strong relationship with the senior coach so I could be that link to the playing group as well. And yeah, look, I'm very, very grateful for their support and guidance over the course of my career, mate.
And how did the decision to retire last year come about for you?
Yeah, look, I think it was. Mate, it was one that I probably changed the decision 5 or 6 times. I think I probably got to the middle of the year and I thought, look, I really better weigh up what I'm going to do here. And I think once I explored what post footy could look like, the floodgates sort of opened a bit. Looking at where the club was at, the list was at, the direction it was heading, and look, I was also big on not just clinging on and dragging out the career for the sake of it. I was like, look, if I'm still playing reasonable footy, but I've helped guide and develop some younger guys under me that could step in, play my role. I was more than happy to step aside and for them to do that, mate. So I sit here, really comfortable with the decision. No doubt the transition period's not easy, and and for anyone for that matter, if you've been in any career for long enough, it's going to be a teething period of different emotions. But look, really proud of the career in general, mate, and really happy with that decision to hang up the boots last year.
And what was it like to play your final game against Brisbane up at the Gabba?
Yeah, well, that was wild, mate. Like, I guess the week prior, Brad the Bugger didn't play me against the Swans, but that's all fine too. Even that Swans game, mate. I went there to watch the boys and got a standing ovation from the crowd standing out on the ground, which was just insane. And then got the call up to have a run up in Brisbane, and you had another shot, the heap 60 odd people come up to Brizzy to watch that game, as well as a whole heap of fans that travelled from all over Australia to watch my last game, which was incredible. And mate, I'll tell you what, a lot of people say, play every game like it's your last, and it really sunk in there because I just had so much fun out on the ground with my teammates, even though the scoreboard was completely irrelevant for me. I just enjoyed every moment of that, and it's just soaked up every minute of that game, and just left the ground with so much joy and love, and just pure, I guess, a feeling of love for the game of footy.
And you've joined Port Melbourne on a 2-year contract where you'll be a playing assistant and community ambassador. What excites you about joining the borough?
Yeah, down the borough, mate. I'm a local to the area, so nice and easy to pop down to training and games. But I think also learning under the guidance of Brendan McCartney and Hurdy down there as well. Again, it'll be really exciting. We've also got Mark Murphy as our midfield coach. Steve Alessio's down there to help with the rucks. So we've got a pretty stacked coaching crew, mate, to really help guide and develop a lot of the younger players at the club. And bearing into pre-season, meeting a lot of the boys. It's a great bunch of lads, and I'm really excited to cultivate a new culture, and help drive the boys forward, and have as much fun as I can with them along the way too.
And how important do you think culture is within a footy club?
Oh, it's massive. It is massive. If you've got a great bunch of guys that are driven and on the same path to achieve the ultimate success, but also to I guess stay aligned to what you're trying to achieve in your vision and your values, it's crucial, mate. It doesn't take too many weak links in a chain for it to break. So it's making sure you tend to everyone's needs and also understand how everyone ticks. It's fostering those relationships to help make sure guys are in a good space to be able to perform to their best and get the most out of themselves. So it's a really big element of going as far as you can.
And over the weekend, you were in commentary for the Western Bulldogs and Bombers match simulation. Is working in the media something you might be interested in, Dyson?
What do you reckon, mate? Did you have a listen to some of my comments?
You were pretty good, I must admit.
Thanks, mate. Well, first crack at it. I did enjoy it. Ben, he was outstanding at the in the box and just pretty much just chewing the fat with him, mate. But I actually really enjoyed the day. It's not something I'd considered doing throughout the course of this year, but it might. I think it would be a bit of fun if opportunities bob up again throughout the course of the year. I might have a little crack. So there we go.
And what does this year look like for you as an ex-Essendon player? Are you going to try and get to as many games as you can to watch the boys, or are you going to watch it from home? What does that all look like?
Mate, I'll tell you what. I'll get to every game I can. I'll be. I've got obviously got a number of great friends at the club, so I'm excited to watch them play. But I'm also a mad fan at heart, so I just hope they go incredibly well, mate. And I'll really look forward to going to games and maybe having a beer or two up on the top tier and cheering the lads on. So, no, I'm really excited to see how they go.
And you're also involved with H the Label. Tell me a little bit about that and how that all came about.
Oh, good on you, mate. Yeah, look, this one's been a really fun project. So, the backstory to it, my grandmother, when I was young, passed away from a condition called scleroderma, which is an autoimmune disease. And when I got drafted, I became an ambassador for the Scleroderma Foundation. And through that foundation, I got introduced to little Harrison Pennicott, so H-Man, as he's known. And he was the youngest in the world to be diagnosed with scleroderma, the only one in Australia with his type of it. And meeting this kid, to see that the attitude, the love, the energy that he had after going through so much adversity at such a young age, I was genuinely inspired. And over the course of the next 7 or 8 years, along with my partner Kate, we formed this incredible relationship with their family. And part of what Kate and I wanted to do was try and impact H-Man's life as much as we could. So we came up with the concept of a clothing label called H the Label. All the designs on the kit are H-Man's, his little drawings and slogans and artworks. And the proceeds of the sales go towards helping H-Man tick off his bucket list items. So we've done some pretty cool stuff, mate. Driving in Lambos, private jets, meeting NBA players, playing tennis with Nick Kyrgios, going to basketball games, soccer games, all this kind of stuff. So it's been an amazing ride, and part of H-Man's values, he wants to help other kids that are going through tough things as well. So we're going to build that out and hopefully help other kids achieve their bucket list items too. So the support's been incredible. Timing's quite fitting. We're dropping our third collection on Thursday, 20th of Feb. So get around that, hthelabel.com. Some new kit coming, which will be awesome. And mate, just really excited for this journey and having a good crack at it this year, mate. It's turned into a full-time job.
It's great the work that you're doing. And a bit of a tougher question for you. Who would be the top five opponents that you played against player-wise throughout your career?
Oh, bang, righto. Gary Ablett up the top. He had 40 kick two on me once. And then, look, you throw it in a pool of Scott Pendlebury, Joel Selwood, Paddy Dangerfield, and even played on Eddie Betts when I was young up, when I was playing down back, and still Rioli, I reckon.
They're all fantastic players. Was there ever a favourite team or a team that you loved to always beat and get the win over?
Oh, we always love the big rivalries, mate, and Hawthorn, Collingwood, Carlton, even Richmond, and the D's. I think all the big Melbourne clubs, they're the ones you love getting the chockies over because you know there was going to be a big crowd, usually at the G on a big occasion. So they were always the fun ones.
And what do you think was the biggest lesson that you learnt from your footy career?
Biggest lesson I learned, mate. Far out. Well, I guess looking back on it, the things I remember the most are the relationships that I fostered. So, look, you can be a damn good footballer, but if you're not a good teammate or a good person, then what's it all worth? So, for me, mate, it was just the importance of making sure I keep fostering really strong relationships and keeping in touch with all those that meant so much with me throughout the course of my career.
And what was your favourite ground to play on throughout your career?
Oh, I love the G. There's nothing gets better than a big occasion at the G. And then one for interstate, probably Adelaide Oval. That one was magic.
And just finally as well, who do you think was your favourite teammate at the Bombers and why?
Favorite teammate. Tough to pick one, mate. Had some unbelievable ones over the course of the years, but mate, most recently ones guys like even Sam Durham, just a dude that just has a good crack. got no ceiling on how good he can be. Country boy. Then Big Drape's just a genuine character. Dill Shield, got a great relationship with Dill. Junior Merritt, spent so much time with him, talking about culture and vision and leadership and the works. But so many characters, mate, and I've just been so grateful for all of my teammates, and I've taken I guess, a little piece of them along with me for the remainder of my life.
Well, thank you so much, Dyson, for joining me today. It was fantastic to talk about your career, and all the best at the Borough.
Fletch, you're a star, mate. Thanks so much. Good man.
And that was Dyson Heppell joining me there.